It's an honor to speak about our brother Jim. Jim was so lucky to be the oldest in the family and to have 5 sisters. At least we kept telling him that. I asked my sisters for some of their favorite events or topics or memories for me to share with you. What a journey down memory lane I received. Some things are not suitable for this setting, but others are great illustrations and insights into what a great brother we have been privileged to have. Jim liked trucks and animals. In his early teens, he could be found across Highway 8 from our home at Wright and Labor's cartage and trucking yard. He rode to farms with the drivers, picking up cattle and bringing them back to the holding pens in Wright and Labor's. And some days he would even get to go to the stockyards with the cattle. Many years later, he fought the fire that burned these buildings to the ground. I am sure he was heartbroken. That same fire threatened our own home, and Jim's efforts, along with his fellow firemen, saved our home. For a few years, Jim and Dad would buy 2 or 3 steers and keep them in the field behind our house. One year, my sister Ann and I were allowed to invest in this venture. Jim paid 75% of the cost, Ann paid 20%, and I invested 5%. Dad bought the feed at Top Notch to be paid back when the steers were sold. We all did the chores. Jim kept very exact records of all the costs. In the fall, I remember my profit was 25 cents. His love of fire trucks led to 45 years as a volunteer firefighter. Before cell phones and internet, we had a fire phone high on the wall in our front hall. When it rang at night, you didn't want to be in the way when Jim and Dad scrambled into their clothes, ran downstairs, and backed out the lane. They never once hit one of those big walnut trees. But didn't one of my sisters hit one of those trees? Jane? Being a firefighter was such an important part of Jim's life. Jim was so proud of his community and its people. He regularly took his wife Ann, us girls, our families, or Ken and Lorraine on his famous tours. We never knew exactly where we would be going or how long the tour would last. But when we got home, we were much wiser about Seaforth and area than when we had begun. We took back roads, and Jim had no plans in particular. He pointed out hydro lines, drains and culverts, fire locations, barns, and new subdivisions. On walking tours closer to home, he educated us about his trees and Ann's flowers. Jim was a protective big brother. Sister Ann was only able to go to the pavilion dances in Bayfield if Jim was going to be there. Mom and Dad thought it was a great idea, but Jim didn't. Ann also recalls high school days when homeroom teacher Black Mac, Miss McIntyre, was taking attendance. She would often have to ask Ann, "Can you see if Jim is coming across the field?" In grade 9, I went to a high school dance in the winter. I got to school, opened my locker, and realized I only had my running shoes to wear. They didn't go with my dress very well. I went to Jim and said, "I forgot my dress shoes." And Jim said, "So what do you want me to do about it?" And without me asking, Jim ran home and showed up with my dress shoes about 10 minutes later. In high school, cadets and football were sometimes more important than classes to Jim. We often played catch with the football at home. I never knew exactly what to expect or where to run because he would say, "Get ready for a long, short pass." Jim was a partner in the store with our dad and Uncle Dirk. He apprenticed with our uncle and became a licensed electrician, plumber, and gas fitter. And growing up in the family hardware business meant that we all took our turn working there. Joan remembers one day when she was standing at the counter and she was only about 12 or 13. Jim came in from a job and right away looked at Joan and said, "Don't you have some dusting or sweeping to do?" We older sisters had been instructed about customer service by our grandfather and father, and Jim was passing it along to Joan. There is a big gap in age between Jim and our youngest sister Joan, 16 years. Joan remembers when that gap was really bridged. She had just turned of age and could go into the Queen's. Seeing Jim at the bar, she hopped up on a bar stool next to him and said, "Hi, I'm Joan. What's your name?" And that's when she and Jim really started to get to know one another. Jim always enjoyed Joan's bubbly, you never know what she'll do or say next outlook on life. Jim did like to tease everyone, his sisters, his nieces and nephews, grandchildren and friends, and customers. His quick wit and good nature provided him with many opportunities for teasing, but it was always in good fun and never hurtful. Margaret tells of Jim offering to pull a loose tooth for her daughter Kaitlin with his special tooth-pulling tool. He went to the back of the store and promptly came back with a huge pair of bolt cutters. He enjoyed the teasing that he and his brothers-in-law would give us girls, comments about our cooking or lack of, about how he and our husbands were so hard done by. Jim would then just throw his head back in laughter with a twinkle in his eye, a big smile, and lots of giggles. Margaret also recalls Jim, along with our dad, doing the lion's share of work at home when the basement used to flood. In the spring, when water surrounded the house, he would piggyback us back into the house if we had forgotten our boots. He kept watch on the sump pump and boarded the basement windows to keep back the water. Margaret was very young then, and she got to watch a lot. Jane recalls that after the Seaforth homecoming parade, she and Jim were at the commercial for refreshments. She had brought toddler Tracy in with her. Because Tracy had made many trips with Jim to the fire hall and to the dump, she knew many of the townsfolk and Jim's friends. And as some came into the commercial, she greeted them. "Hi, Jack. Hi, Tom. Hi, Ken." When our mother learned of Tracy's whereabouts, she was horrified and quickly came to take Tracy home. We all know Jim loved music and dancing. He played the euphonium in the town band, and we would go to the band shell at Victoria Park on Sunday evenings in the summer to listen to these great community concerts. Jim loved to dance and was a good dancer. He and Ann did a cool rock and roll and twist and shout, and each of us girls loved it when he asked us for a waltz. There really are 6 of us sisters, not 5. Jim's Ann is sister number 6. And we have had so many adventures and dinners, tours, gatherings, and talks with Jim's Ann. When you and Jim first dated Ann, it was so cool to hear Jim pick up our home phone and ask for the operator. He'd say, "Operator, please." And then, after he heard your voice from the switchboard, he would say, in true Minnie Pearl fashion, "Is this the party to whom I am speaking?" His conversations were usually short because we had a party line and his little sisters were hanging around. And we treasure all of our days together with you, and we share in your heartache. We love you, and we are so happy you are our sister. In summary, a few little facts about Jim. No matter where he met you, his handshake greeting would often be, "Good to see you downtown." Jim's contribution to family potluck dinners was a bag of licorice. If you pay your little sisters a quarter, they'll shine your shoes and go to the pool room uptown to get grill cream for you. And when Jim said, "Want to go for a tour?" you made sure to go to the bathroom before heading out. If you needed a bathing beauty or a fashion model for a community variety show, or a Gruffalo character for a family gathering, you could always ask Jim. As kids, we called him Jimmy. In the later years, I affectionately called him Father Jim, and he called me Sister Mary. We sisters have so many memories of Jim and have shared but a few today. We have memories of a practical, sincere, caring, fun-loving, good listener, forward-thinking brother who worked hard and played hard. He loved his family so much. He lived his faith and cherished his community. He has been a wonderful example to all of us in so many ways and has shown us how to work hard, play hard, be kind and generous, treasure family and faith, to name a few. Thanks, Jim. With love from Anne, Mary, Jane, Margaret, and Joan.
Oh, I'm proud to be an Okie from the Skokie. Sorry. Wrong building. Save that one for later. Okay, that was okay. So my name is Jim Sills. We're gathered here today to say a few words and remember the life of James Francis Sills, a husband, a father, a grandfather, a brother, and a friend. Jim, James, Peanut, Silsy was an amazing individual. He was hardworking, honest, had a heart of gold, and always had a quick one-liner to share. Didn't matter if you seen him on Main Street, getting the mail, servicing customers in the store, or chasing down the fire through the community. Dad always had time to share a story, provide advice and guidance, or greet you with a smile and a grin and a nod. Dad had a famous nod, along with a finger wave, on the steering wheel, if you ever seen him in passing. Ronnie Driscoll had the waving arm of Seaforth. Jimmy had the waving finger of Seaforth. As I sat down and started to put pen to paper, thinking about how I'm going to cope with the sudden passing of my father, it made me reflect how important our lives are to one another in this world. When an event like this happens in our life, we need to look around the room and understand the kind of impact we have on one another. That we come together to help one another and get through the tough times of grieving with the loss of our loved ones. But we also need to reflect and laugh on the many, many memories of the good and bad that we hold dear of our loved ones. Growing up in Seaforth in a clan of 6, we had some fun memories of us as a family. Our first trip to Florida back in '92, when Mom and Dad had a winning ticket in the Optimist trip around the world. The original trip was for 2 tickets for 2 weeks to England. And I'm pretty sure my siblings and I all thought that Mom and Dad were going to leave town and let us fend for ourselves. But Dad cashed in that ticket. He loaded all of us into that brown Ford Aerostar for a blissful 3,000-mile road trip down I-75. And I'm pretty sure that Dad might have second-guessed loading us kids into that van by the time we hit the bridge in Port Huron after we picked Tracy up in Sarnia. But in all honesty, the trip couldn't have been that bad, because Jim loaded us back into that Aerostar the following year and we headed back down south. Dad really enjoyed being surrounded by family and friends, and it always put a smile on his face. If He was teasing his 5 sisters in the basement at the store at a Christmas Eve kickoff, or letting his granddaughter put ribbons in his hair while he was watching Benny Hill reruns. Or maybe he was getting his grandsons to help put on the storm windows and rake the walnuts before winter came. Dad really enjoyed those memories. All of us here today have got some sort of great memory of my dad. It could have been a memory at the hockey rink, the many hours he put in getting us kids down to the rink or to get to our favorite winter sports. It might have been at the fire hall or at a fire, where he shared some of his 45 years of experience. He could have been flipping your eggs at the annual breakfast or taking cash at Canada Day breakfast. It might have been a purchase at the store when you showed up looking for something and left with something you didn't need. Dad either took you down to the basement or up to the tin shop and you shuffled around, found what you were looking for, dusted it off, and passed it over to you. Or perhaps, this was always a classic, you came in and he just kind of pointed you down the aisle. It was down this north wall, just past the paint, just down knee-high on the left-hand side there. That'll be where you'll find your product. As I said, Dad was always a bit of a jokester, so I got a bit of a Jimmy joke here. The boy asked his father to use the car. The father replies, "No, not until you cut your hair." And the boy replies, "But father, Jesus had long hair." "Yeah, Jesus walked everywhere," said father. In recent years, Mom and Dad were really able to enjoy their time together. Since Mom informed Jim it was maybe time to retire, so they could spend more time touring the back roads on days other than Sunday. For some of us, we'd gotten to travel a bit earlier in our lives. Tracy and Jeff's adventure to Budapest, Teddy's time in Whistler building condos, Donnie's little trek down to Central America, and myself, wherever the wind blew, seemed like a good idea to me. But for Mom and Dad, they loved touring the back roads, and they left the county every February for some much needed time in the sun. Every time Dad came home from those trips, he always seemed to have to notch up his belt, because he lost a few pounds due to all the schoolgirl laughing he did with Kenny while they teased Lorraine and Mom. Mom and Dad have been a solid foundation for our family for 47 years. They instilled values and traits in each one of us that'll leave a lasting mark on all 4 of us, along with their grandchildren. They taught us that hard work and determination will pay off in the end, that being honest, kind, and respectful will help make life easier no matter what the situation may be. Dad made sure we followed these unwritten rules, and that being a family was one of the most important things on this earth. Just got a couple last words here that I'd like to say for Dad. Beyond time and place in your footsteps trace, when we close your eyes and we see your face. Beyond these days, your art and voice are missed. Beyond sediment, every word is bombed. Beyond memory, when these days are gone, I'll carry you in my heart and soul and fist. I promise now, through the days, every smile's memorial. Every time we raise a glass to your name, it's your memory. It's your energy flows through me. I promise you, I will walk with my heart still open, courage spoken loud, and I put my song on the track to hear it sing back. Dad, we enjoyed every waking minute we got to spend with you. So did everyone in this room. And we're gonna miss you more than you'll ever gonna know. And we love you, Dad. Sincerely, your family.